If you think hangovers are brutal, try waking up in your best friend's bed with no pants and his eyes fixed on you like you're the only damn thing in the room. I wish I were kidding, but that was my reality on a gray Saturday morning in Brooklyn. The city outside still buzzing, while my world had tilted upside down. Ethan was supposed to be my anchor, the guy who dragged me out of bars when I got reckless, the one who picked up the pieces when life punched me in the gut. But that morning, his gaze wasn't the protective, brotherly kind I had grown used to. It was raw, unguarded, and terrifyingly full of something I wasn't ready to name. The sheets smelled like him citrus and coffee, familiar yet suddenly alien. I blinked hard, praying it was some hangover hallucination. But no. He was still there, leaning against the headboard, a faint smirk tugging at his lips like he was in on a secret I hadn't been told. What? My voice came out hoarse, defensive. You don't remember? Ethan asked, his tone too calm, too steady, like he had all the time in the world while my heart was doing somersaults in my chest. I tried to laugh, but it cracked in the middle. Remember what? That I was an idiot and had one tequila too many? But the way he looked at me, Jesus. It wasn't pity. It wasn't amusement. It was hunger dressed in patience. And I hated how much of me wanted to give in. The night before was a blur of neon lights, bad karaoke, and Ethan's arm around my shoulders as I stumbled out of the club. He had always been touchy, always close, but last night the closeness had burned differently. Somewhere between the fourth shot and the cab ride, something in me had shifted, but I was too drunk to chase it. Now, sober and exposed under his sheets, the shift was staring me in the face. Ethan finally looked away, rubbing his jaw like he was trying to decide whether to say something or swallow it whole. You kissed me, Noah. My stomach dropped. No, the denial was automatic, desperate. But flashes came back, like broken glass in sunlight. His laughter in the back of the cab. My hand gripping his shirt. His lips, God. His lips against mine, soft and shocked and real. I buried my face in my hands. Shit. Yeah, he said, almost a whisper. Shit. The silence that followed was unbearable. Outside, sirens wailed. A car horn blared. But inside that apartment, the only thing I could hear was my own pulse. Look, I started, words clumsy and sharp all at once. We were drunk. It didn't mean anything. Ethan's laugh was short, bitter. Didn't mean anything? You think I'm sitting here watching you try to crawl out of your own skin because it didn't mean anything? His voice cracked, just barely, and it gutted me. I had seen Ethan angry. I had seen him heartbroken, but I had never seen him exposed, vulnerable, like every wall he had spent years building was crumbling in front of me. You've always been so goddamn blind, he said, shaking his head. Do you have any idea how long He stopped himself, biting down on the confession before it slipped. My throat tightened. Ethan. But what could I say? That I was straight, or at least I thought I was. That the idea of us had never crossed my mind until now, when it was suddenly all I could think about. The truth was, his eyes scared me more than the kiss, because they held every answer I wasn't ready to face. The day dragged on like a silent war. Ethan busied himself in the kitchen, making coffee, pretending not to watch me as I paced his apartment like a trapped animal. My phone buzzed with texts I ignored. All I could think about was the weight of his gaze, the way it had branded me. At some point, I caught him staring again, and this time he didn't look away. His jaw was set, his eyes steady, and I felt like he was peeling me open without even touching me. You don't have to figure it out right now, he said quietly. But don't lie to yourself, Noah. Not about this. That night, when I finally stumbled back to my own apartment, I lay awake for hours replaying everything. His voice, his laugh, that kiss. And for the first time in years, I wasn't afraid of losing control. I was afraid of what would happen if I gave in. The city outside didn't stop for heartbreaks or revelations. Brooklyn kept humming, trains kept rattling beneath the streets, and strangers brushed past each other on crowded sidewalks like their lives weren't imploding in small apartments. Mine was. Days passed with silence between us. I avoided Ethan's texts, answered with excuses when he called. Cowardice tasted bitter, but it was safer than confronting the wildfire that had sparked between us. Or at least, that's what I told myself. But nights are cruel when you're alone with your thoughts. I would close my eyes and see his face, the hurt he tried to hide, the truth buried in his voice. I had told myself for years that Ethan was just my best friend, my anchor, my constant. Yet somehow, that constant had become the thing I couldn't live without. The turning point came on a Thursday evening, rain pounding against the windows of my apartment. I had just gotten home from work, drenched, exhausted, and completely out of excuses to keep running. My phone buzzed, and his name lit up the screen again. This time I answered. Noah. Ethan's voice was quiet but steady. We need to talk. I swallowed hard. Yeah, we do. His place felt different that night, like the air itself was waiting for me to decide who I was going to be. He was sitting on the couch, a beer untouched in his hand, eyes red-rimmed like sleep hadn't been kind to him either. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Just the rain outside and the hum of the fridge filling the silence. Finally, I sank onto the couch beside him, close but not touching. I'm sorry, I said, the words trembling, for disappearing, for pretending it didn't happen, for all of it. Ethan's jaw clenched, but he didn't look away. Do you even know what you're sorry for, Noah? Or are you just trying to make me feel better so you don't have to deal with it? I flinched because he wasn't wrong. I'm sorry for hurting you, I said, firmer this time. And I'm sorry for lying to myself. His breath hitched, the kind of sound you make when you're afraid to believe hope could still exist. I don't know what this makes me, I admitted, staring at my hands. I don't know what label fits or how the hell I'm supposed to explain it to anyone. But I know this. I finally looked at him, really looked at him. When I kissed you, it felt more real than anything I've done in years. And that scares me more than anything ever has. Ethan set the bottle down, leaning closer, his voice low and raw. Then let it scare you. But don't run from it. Don't run from me. Something in me snapped, or maybe it finally broke free. My hand found his tentative, trembling. His fingers closed around mine like they'd been waiting all along. The kiss that followed wasn't clumsy or drunken. It was deliberate, searing, a collision of years of denial finally unraveling. His lips were soft, his grip firm at the back of my neck, pulling me closer as if daring me to ever let go. And this time I didn't want to. The weeks that followed weren't easy. We stumbled, argued, pulled apart and found our way back again. Old habits of hiding and pretending didn't vanish overnight. There were moments I panicked, retreating into silence, moments Ethan's patience thinned and he pushed too hard. But underneath all of it was something solid, something neither of us could deny anymore. One night, months later, we sat on the rooftop of his building, the city sprawling below us in lights and motion. Ethan leaned against me, his head resting on my shoulder, his hand intertwined with mine. You ever think about how messy this all started? He asked with a small laugh. I smirked. You mean me drunk off my ass and making a fool of myself? Exactly that. He nudged me, grinning. Romantic origin story, huh? I kissed his temple, the warmth of him grounding me in a way nothing else ever had. Messy, yeah, but maybe the best thing I've ever done. He grew quiet then, his fingers tightening around mine. I don't need you to have all the answers, Noah. I just need you here, with me. And for once, I didn't doubt my own reply. I'm not going anywhere. Love isn't always fireworks and grand gestures. Sometimes it's the quiet mornings making coffee side by side, the late-night fights about nothing that end in laughter, the way his hoodie feels like safety on days when the world is too heavy. It's messy and terrifying and nothing like the fairy tales. But it's real, and it's ours. So maybe I didn't wake up in his bed by choice that first time. Maybe tequila pushed me where I wasn't ready to go. But I stayed. And that choice, that terrifying, reckless choice changed everything. Because the truth is, Ethan had always been looking at me. I had just never been brave enough to look back. Now I do. Every damn day. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.